my name is Melody. I am a Youth Services LA1 at the wonderful Carnegie branch, and today I'm going to show you how to make a veggie broth, tomato sauce, and guacamole all from scratch. Come and join me. Right now we're going to start with cutting up our veggies. These will be for the tomato sauce. So what I like to do, obviously, cut off the tops, and then I just kind of like to just chop it, and then I have this wonderful food processor right here that I'll put in there and make that do all the work for me, because I don't really want to chop this super finely. And for the onion, a really good trick is the rings that you'll see here. Best way to do that is to keep this butt intact. Put it around like this with your knife, all over. And again, I'm gonna do the same thing with the onion, just kind of chopping it. Just haphazardly, basically, because I'm gonna make my food processor do what it's supposed to. This is one of the first recipes that my husband and I really learned how to make together, and it definitely made for an awesome and really delicious, easy weeknight dinner. So you can pretty much get this done within about 2 hours or so. So we'll put all this into the food processor. You can also do this with any blender, anything like that that'll chop up your veggies. Ah, there we are, okay. So this is about the texture that you'll want. It's just kinda, you know, very fine. We're gonna wanna sweat the vegetables. So let's put this to about medium heat. I'm using sunflower oil because my husband and I are doing a lower fat diet, but olive oil works just as well. I like to kind of swirl it around. And you don't have to use cast iron. I really like cast iron, but it's definitely not a requirement at all. You could easily use any other pan just as long as it's deep and it gives you a lot of room to be able to put all the tomatoes and different things that we're going to be putting in there. You're going to want to grab some diced or crushed tomatoes. Diced is what I got today. Not an issue at all. You can pretty much make this pasta sauce any way you'd like with any canned tomato. I normally like using San Maranzo style, but I don't have that in my pantry right now, and that's not a big deal. It's not going to really change much. So I think this looks like it's about hot enough. So get that all out. I love using wooden. I don't know what it's about, but I like using the wooden spoons. So while the vegetables are cooking, just kind of move them around. Let them hang out a little bit. And at this point, I will go and prep my garlic. Because what is Italian without garlic? Nothing I want to eat, that is for sure. If you were here, you'd be able to smell it. But it's smelling really delicious, so I know it's smelling very fragrant, if you will. So I know it's getting ready for the garlic, and you want to put garlic in closer to the end of the sweating of the vegetables, because garlic has a tendency to burn, and burn garlic can make things taste really, really bitter. So garlic is good for flavor, it's good for fragrancy, and it's generally actually pretty healthy for you. Maybe I just like to tell myself that. Okay. Obviously, you can add more or less or none if that is your preference. This recipe can be very easily changed into whatever you want it to be. I did not have celery on me, but you can also do celery, carrot, and onion. Even bell pepper might be pretty good as well. So I think those are about done. So now we're gonna open our cans of tomatoes. Normally you want at least like around 32 ounces. It really depends. What's really awesome about this recipe is you can absolutely freeze it. I couldn't give an exact time. I'd definitely look that up if you are interested in doing that. But basically you make this once and you have it for the rest of the month. Which if you want to do just like one meal prep, you know, try and get as much as you can out of the way before the first of the month. So I'm just gonna kind of move it around. And then you want to kind of start crushing it. This is where like a potato masher would do really well. So whenever you're done getting all of this crushed and as fine as you can make it with the tomatoes in it, then you're going to let it simmer for a minimum of 2 hours, maximum of 4 or 6. And then if it's not right there, it's pretty thick, so I'll probably add some, either some broth, or I'll see if I have some tomato sauce on hand as well, or like canned tomato sauce. These are all things that are just so easy that you can buy at the store, and so it just makes it so much better being able to just make it at home, and having that homemade pasta sauce just makes all the difference some days. If it ends up being too thick, make sure to have some tomato paste on hand. That's always really good, and also some butter. Butter ends up per, I believe it's half a tablespoon. It will help thicken up and actually help your sauce stick to your noodles. And of course right now I got this on a low heat. When I started, I had it at a medium. So I'm gonna add some tomato paste just because it needs a little bit more of that tomato flavor. A tip from my husband. Now you're gonna add all your seasonings. So what you're gonna do, add some Worcestershire. I like to think of it in how many circles you make around, so I did about 2 circles. I prefer coarse salt on most things. Do about 2 or 3 pinches. I like a lot of salt, so. Next we're gonna add some pepper. And I like to use the cracked pepper, so. And that's about it for me. So we got our salt, we got our pepper, and we got our Worcestershire. So now we mix it all together. I'm gonna get our top. I have it on low, and I'm gonna let it for about 2 hours, because that's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna uncover it and we'll taste it again. Put the top on, and we're just gonna let it sit. Now we're going to be doing our veggie broth. So as you can see, just pretty average pot. And what's so awesome about this recipe is all of your veggie scraps for the month can just be put into here. So what you'll want to do is from that month, kind of pour all of the veggie scraps into there. I got some Brussels sprouts, some like literally some onion, got some bell peppers in here. Pieces of celery, and all the way at the bottom I saw some herbs too, which is a great thing to put in here. So I'm gonna go fill this with water, and then we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you what seasonings are the best to put in this. Okay, so got this bad boy filled with water. So I grabbed some whole peppercorns, which is great for that peppery flavor, and I honestly just recommend in general keeping whole peppercorns around. As you can see, I put a lot because this is it's a very big pot. I'm gonna put, so this is going to be oregano. And you can see my obsession with Trader Joe's through my seasonings. Got some rosemary in there. And then I'm gonna put some thyme to finish it off. What's also nice about making your own veggie broth is there's no added salt, no added anything. You know what's going in it. I'm gonna use this to kind of mix it around. Of course, the seasonings are gonna kind of go to the top, but that's fine. Mix it around a bit. You can see a little bit of the random things. Oh, see, there's little garlic pieces. I saw some jalapenos in there while I was filling up the water. It's really cool just seeing what kind of things that you've actually used throughout the month. Alrighty, so we're gonna actually move this back to our small burner. We're gonna move it back, turn it up to low. We're gonna put the top on it and just let it simmer all night long. Voila! I am now going to show you the guacamole. So this is actually a family recipe. My mom and sister are always making this in the summer. It's one of their favorite things to do, and it's pretty delicious. Especially whenever you make homemade chips with it as well. Oh my gosh, so good. So right now, I'm just putting the garlic underneath my knife really quick and just gently hit, well, not gently, but moderately hitting it so that the shells will peel away a lot easier. So right now I'm just kind of prepping all of the stuff that I'm going to be putting in there. Now I'm going to use a lot of green onions because that's just how I roll. Another trick with green onions is that you can actually cut them off to about here. And you can put this in a glass of water, facing up of course, and it will actually start growing again. So you'll be able to get at least 1 or 2 uses out of a single green onion stem, which is pretty neat and cost savvy. Plus it's like a functional houseplant is kind of how I see it. So I'm not going to do anything fancy cutting this. So that's about as much green onion as we're gonna do right now. Next, the star of the show, the avocado. I love avocados. It's been a long love-hate relationship between us, but now they're pretty much my best friend. And I know an avocado toast, it's nothing to laugh about. It's actually pretty delicious. So I'll prep these just in the shell, try and, of course, not slicing yourself, but just kind of, some of that onion is coming back up and hit me in the eyes. Kind of get it nice and cubed in there, makes it easier to mash. So just kind of pile those up over there. We continue to prep these. You can also add cherry tomatoes, which is delicious. I did not add them to this one. I was going with it's honestly a pretty green recipe, as I'll be adding green onions, the garlic, the lime as well, and the cilantro. And of course, the avocado. So, but tomatoes just add this really nice texture and just flavor, especially with cherry tomatoes, which are my absolute favorite. And they're so in season in the summer, which is when I'm actually filming this video. My favorite chips to pair with these as well is the lime chips from Tostitos. Oh, those are my favorite. I remember having guacamole with lime chips. whenever I was real young. So they've been my favorite since I was a real young kid. And they're especially good with guacamole. So just so I can save some room, I'm gonna start breaking these apart, getting a little dirty. Just start putting them in there. And these aren't particularly very soft, but it should be fine enough to mash. I'm going to hope. Oop, that one got away from me. I got this big old fork right next to me for whenever I'm ready to do that. And as you can see, they should just pop right out there. So if you don't trust yourself with a knife this big cutting something so small, you're absolutely welcome. A paring knife will work, as well as a butter knife if the avocado is soft enough, which if you're trying to mash it, I would hope that it'd be soft enough to use with a butter knife. Otherwise you're really getting a lot of work for yourself. And as you can see with me using the food processor during this video, I don't like to do a lot of work whenever I cook. So we got a nice thing of avocado here, which is great. So I am actually going to put the green onion over it so it can mix together while I'm mashing. And then I'm gonna get my handy dandy trusty garlic press, which you saw while I was making the tomato sauce. And I like to scrape as I'm doing it and kind of move the garlic around so it's a little bit easier to press again. As you can see, we got the green onion in there, we got the garlic in there. Then we're gonna chop some cilantro. So I just honestly just kind of break it off like this. Well, maybe not that much cilantro. We'll just roughly chop it. Alrighty, I'm gonna pick out some of these stems. So I'm gonna put it back over our bowl. Grab the lime. I'll cut it up like this. I'll just do maybe just a couple of the wedges, just so I don't over lime it. It starts tasting more like lime than it does anything else. That'll be a little bit too much. So do this last one. And that was about 4 small wedges. So now we're gonna add some garlic salt, and it won't. There it is. And again, just add just a little sprinkling. Well, a little bit more than sprinkling, but that's just my taste. So now we're gonna start mashing. And I just like to use a big fork, but you can use whatever you might think would be best. We'll do a taste test. I'm thinking some more garlic salt. I'm thinking some more lime. So I ended up using a full half of a lime. Mix it up a little bit. And we'll try it again. Always, always, always taste test your food. Thankfully with guacamole, it's pretty easy to know if it's good or not. So, Let's try. So delicious, I could probably just sit here and eat it with a fork. Alrighty y'all, so we are at the 2-hour mark. Ooh, lots of steam. We're at the 2-hour mark. It's looking a little bit too chunky, which means I'm just going to add some more broth to it just to get that real nice flavor in. That's how you make homemade tomato sauce. So here is our veggie broth at about 3 hours. I'm just gonna leave this on low overnight under the small burner. And what's really nice about broth is it's so versatile. You can use it in almost anything. I really love putting it in rice and making it with veggie broth instead of water. And you can even do this with chicken bones, beef bones, different things like that. But yeah, I just felt like veggie broth is the easiest and it uses up those scraps. Alrighty, so this is the veggie broth after about 4 or 5 hours. It's looking really good, smelling even better. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to take this huge ladle strainer thing. If you have a just regular mesh strainer or anything like that, that will be perfectly fine as well. And I like to put it in this plastic bowl that I have. You're also able to do into jars and freeze it. I think it's for up to like 2 months or so. But yeah, it's a very versatile, really easy to make veggie broth, and it makes all the difference in a lot of different recipes. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Bye.